So today's video is all about me celebrating my 6-month anniversary, and the video idea was voted by all the classmates in my school in Brazil. And so for my 6-month anniversary here in Brazil, I am making for the first time a lemon meringue pie. Mind you, I've never made a lemon meringue pie before in my life, so if you see me throughout the video struggling, that is why. I will have everything linked down in the description below so you guys can either try this recipe for yourself or just follow along with what I'm doing. But let's start off with all the questions. So this video is going to be in English, and then the other one, which is the same footage, will be in Portuguese. However, here in English, things might be a little more explained because for me it's a little bit easier to explain things in English, while in Portuguese words may be harder to find because verbs are hard. So, for the first question, did you know how much to pack or bring with you? Did you mostly bring money to buy clothes in Brazil? And what items are you not allowed to have in Brazil? And the cultural differences? Well, I guessed on exactly what I needed to bring since I'm in the southern part of Brazil, which means weather here is a bit unpredictable. And I actually overpacked, which was a huge problem, and I still have to face that right now. I got rid of a lot of clothes, and still am, and bought a lot of clothes that match the fashion here in Brazil and the practicality of Brazil, because for me that's important to not only look good, but also survive in the weather here, because one day it'll be 75 and the other it'll be 46 degrees, and then the next day it's like 100, so it really depends on the day. So having a variety of different clothes is kind of important. And I don't know what is not allowed here in Brazil because I had my mother help me pack, and so she dealt with things that I couldn't pack or where to put things to pack, because you can have certain things in your checked luggage but not your carry-on, such as like medications. And if you do have medications that you need in your carry-on, you have to have prescription proof that a doctor has signed off. And so those things are what my mom helped me with, so I really can't explain more about that because I hadn't had any problems when I came to Brazil with things I could or could not have. And there are so many differences here in Brazil, but that'll be answered further or later. But I'll explain those differences soon. And our second question is, what is it like being an exchange student? Have you ever worried about how your host families will be like? And my answer to that is, it's a good challenge. It has pushed all the boundaries, and I've really grown a lot as a person, and I've developed to become a more well-rounded person. Here in Brazil, there's a lot of things different than the United States, which again, I'll probably explain either in this video or in another video, but things have just been really different here, and it's helped me understand and grow to become what I would think and what I hope to be a better person. And I'm always nervous about going to new families. This Sunday, I am actually switching host families, and I'm honestly always really nervous because I never know how they're going to react to me, what I should say, what I shouldn't say, because I don't want to disappoint them and also have them upset at me, but that's just anxiety, and I think that's really normal. And then all in all, it always turns out okay. My families love me, and I love them. They're like cool families. And okay, and our third question is, what do you think is better in Brazil than the United States? I think that how nature is incorporated in all of the infrastructure here in Brazil is one of the most resilient things I've ever seen in my life. It makes me so happy to be living in a city where they do this. For example, we will have like palm trees in the middle of the building, and some of the woodworking is actually attached to these trees. And it really helps fight pollution here in the city, and it's really amazing. And they also fight pollution with cars that don't use gasoline, and so they instead use natural gases, which is better but also still kind of bad. But they also have electric cars, which I think is really genuinely amazing, and I wish that the United States had more of this, especially nature incorporated in buildings. Like, we have skyscraper buildings basically here in my city, and each floor and each window is decorated with a lot of floral accents, and trees grow with the building and vines as well. and it's just gives it more character and more life, and I really have grown to appreciate that. I also like how in more than one places of the city they have small stores, where in my town back in Wisconsin, you have one center for stores, and only those stores carry specific items you need, which in theory for a small town, yes, it works, but for me, it's much longer because I live on the outskirts of the city rather than in the center of the city, so I have to drive like an hour to get to one store, when here in Brazil I can walk 5 minutes to 4 stores that are near my area, but then when I'm at someone else's house farther away from my house, I can just walk another 5 minutes to another set of stores. But I think that's because this city also has over like 500,000 people, or about 500,000 people in the city, so it makes sense. But I kind of wish my hometown had this, because it would make my life a little bit easier, and probably people who live by me's life a little bit easier as well. And then, what is worse? So this is a little touchy subject, and I'm really sorry. I don't mean to offend people, but crime rates here are, from what my friends and I talk about, are handled differently here. And yes, the United States does have problems with crime, I will admit that, but here in Brazil, sometimes they aren't held accountable, or like the sentences aren't long like in the United States. And for me, I'm still wrapping my head around this, because it doesn't make sense. For me, it's just, I like the United States way of handling crime a little bit better than Brazil. And then healthcare and schooling. My friend and I were talking about how healthcare is so much different here in Brazil than the United States. And I genuinely like how in the United States, I don't have to worry about things being sterilized properly or having someone reuse a needle. But here in Brazil, there's protocol throughout the Rotary. No matter where you go in the world, you have to have this protocol of watching these doctors to make sure that they aren't using reused needles if you need a vaccination or something, or any other thing that you may need. Like, you have to just genuinely be more cautious here. And for me, it's like it makes my anxiety a little bit stronger here, because I'm so used to having to not really like to think about it, but not also worry about it so much. Along with some of the clinics here in Brazil, like, it is free in a way. It's like paid for mostly by taxes, but there's also things that I don't know how to explain properly. And then school, my friend and I especially were talking about this, because in Brazil, we have the systems where you go to school at 7:30 and then you end school at 12. And that's for my private school, at least. I go to a private Catholic school, and that's the protocol at that school. I don't know how it is for every other school. I know my friend goes to school until 4 o'clock, but it's something that's really different, and I kind of enjoy the structure of the United States more, because in Brazil, classes are just, in my school, constantly thrown around.
So just a little update. I did have footage fail on me because I accidentally closed out the window without realizing I did until it was too late, and the footage was gone. So yeah, but basically you split it in half, the mixture, and mix it with half of the eggs that you have left. Because you're supposed to mix half of it first into the first batch, and then half of the batch into the eggs, and then mix that back into the half that you just took from. So it's really complicated, and you put it in the pie crust. So I put it in the pie crust, as you can kind of tell. I'm letting it sit. But now we gotta make meringue. But I thought I should let you guys this know in English. I'll probably translate it, but I thought I should let you know right off the hand and let myself know to edit this so that it's in here to explain why I'm missing footage. But yeah.
Editing me coming in to apologize for over-explaining that, but I hope you enjoyed the explanation nonetheless. Now, let's get back to the other footage. Okay, and our next question is, how is your experience in Brazil? Honestly, it's like a roller coaster of emotions. I have done so many things here with my family and sometimes with friends, but it's been really good. I've been hanging out with my mom here, and she's like been my biggest like help here, and like always like learning new things. Like I can speak better Portuguese because of her. I learned how to make a rug because of her. I am able to work on multiple knitting projects because she has helped me get to this place. So I'm really grateful that I have my host mother because she really does genuinely make a difference. And so it has made my exchange a lot better. And on top of that, my friends at school are constantly helping me learn more and more and helping me with verbs because I genuinely struggle so much with verbs here. But I'm really grateful because it has genuinely made my experience here in Brazil something unique, and it makes me feel that I always have a place to come home to if I ever do come back to Brazil, which I know I will because I want to go to Foz do Iguaçu since that trip did sadly get canceled. So I'm only going to the Amazon, which means I can take my friends from school to Foz do Iguaçu and Pantanal and probably Rio de Janeiro so that we can have more memories to make in the future, because they genuinely have made a really big impact on my exchange and have made me so grateful to have them in my life because they make me feel like they aren't friends, they're family. Have you found it easy to make friends in Brazil? At school, it was really easy to make friends, and I still have friends there who I will probably have for a lifetime, and I am so excited about that. But because I'm the only exchange student in my city, it has been really hard to make exchange friends. However, I have met 3. I have one in Curitiba, and he's pretty cool, and then I met 2 other people, one from Germany and one from Venezuela, and they're really cool, and I'll probably make a video talking about them. And then the guy I met in Curitiba is from Zimbabwe. So it's genuinely like really easy to make friends here in Brazil, but Intercambista friends are a little bit harder to come by in my city. And what is the biggest culture shock for you, and how has it affected you? Has it been for better or for worse? Well, actually, when I first got here, I didn't have any culture shock at all. I literally got off the plane, looked around, and went, well, I guess this is my home now. And for 3 months after that, I really didn't feel like I was in another country. I felt like I was actually just in the United States and everyone was just playing a huge April Fool's prank where they all spoke Portuguese, Brazilian Portuguese, because everyone kind of looks how you would look like in America. There's not a huge difference besides Portuguese. And so over time, I just really didn't notice anything. But also, my mental health was just slipping because I unknowingly, after like 4 months, had like really bad culture shock. And I just really didn't realize it because for me, I don't realize things quick. Like I do now, but like at first with like culture shock things, it's just really hard to pinpoint because you're like, am I just being a jerk or is that culture shock? And so I called my mom when I finally realized it, and she helped me fix on these issues. And now I'm confident that it has helped me positively because I can pinpoint what is culture shock and how I can overcome it as fast as I can and how I can grow from this. For example, I was really adamant on learning Portuguese in 3 months. 3 months is basically impossible unless you are like a genius in Portuguese. Like, it's a really hard language, and people here in Brazil will definitely tell you that. They will tell you, this is a really hard language. There's no way you're going to learn this in 3 months, and if you are, you're Houdini. And would you like to live here in Brazil for life? Yes and no. This one's a really difficult question. I really love my families here in Brazil and in the United States, and I would love to live in Brazil for at least 2 to 3 years. But I want to live in so many places that it's hard to make up my mind. And you also have to face the process of applying for visas, which can take literally forever, and then applying for citizenship is even longer. So I would love to live here for a while, but I also kind of want to go to school in Quebec for college, and if that doesn't work, then probably Sweden. But I want to get a job that'll take me all around the world, so like international communications or businesses is really my go-to plan because it doesn't give me one specific country I'll live in, but instead hopefully more I can go and see so that I can meet other cultures and other people and learn new things because I constantly want to learn more about the world. So in conclusion, it's a stalemate. And now for some fun questions. Are all girls beautiful there? Yes, they are. Girls are so pretty here because they all have beautiful long hair, and it's normally the brown hair. They have really long nails that are always painted like by professionals, and they've got a lot of nail jewelry on. And I'm not even kidding you when I say this, but they have like little to no acne, and I've been having really bad, severe allergic reactions, which has made my acne just take over. And so when I see these girls with perfect complexions, I'm like, wow, I wish I was that pretty. So yes, in conclusion, Brazilian girls are beautiful, and I'm very jealous of them, even though they tell me that I'm very pretty, which I'm really grateful for. Are you interested in talking to new people? I'm willing to talk to new people while I'm on exchange, in like the exchange programs or on exchange group chats, and people in my city who my friends know or my family knows. Do you like soccer? Yes, I really do like soccer now. Like, I went to 4 soccer games, I think, 3 or 4, and I really enjoyed them, even though I have no idea what's going on 99% of the time. I just really like it when people just scream and like cheering, like unison, like, yeah, we won. Like, it's just so much fun because it gets so hyped up here. It's awesome. Are you going to dye your hair soon? Which concludes the questions. And yes, I actually dyed my hair during the making of this, like before the making of this video, and I will be posting that video right after the Portuguese video gets released. So wait for that, because I hope you will enjoy it, because for me it was really funny, because I dyed my hair at like 11 o'clock at night when I had a Rotary meeting the next day. So thank you for joining in on this video. I really hope you enjoyed, and if you have any other questions, just leave them down in the comments and I will answer them for you. I hope you have an amazing day. If you liked this video, please hit that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Please comment down below how I can improve and what you'd like to see next, because I do take your considerations in the comments and make them into videos. So have a great day. I love you. Bye.